Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long while that we have this opportunity to be together again. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend in person because of some things that are beyond my control. And it's been interesting times for everybody because of the COVID-19, and we've not been able to come together as we should have. That being said, I will make my presentation from here in Hamilton, New Zealand. The topic for this presentation, my presentation title is A Dig into the Multifaceted Nature of Sustainability, a Tripartite Approach. This paper tries to look at the tripod nature of sustainability. And the tripod nature of sustainability, I mean the social, the economic, and the environmental aspects of sustainability. So the paper has been written in a way to strike a balance between these three parts of sustainability. The presentation outline, I have outlined the topics that I'm going to discuss in the presentation today, and I hope to be as fast as I can so that I don't bore anybody with that. Sustainability has been a very growing concept and is not new to business lexicon, but it has been gaining traction over the years. And what has prompted this is the concern for the environment. The concern for the health of the environment is at the core of sustainability. And this concept, to a large extent, has exposed the dangers faced by the planet due to human and non-human activities. It is not yet clear the extent to which human activities contribute to climate change, to global warming and all that. But one thing is certain, that human activities contribute to the climate change and global warming situation we find ourselves. And there are things that humans have done over the years that have also affected the planet. Some of those impacts on the planet are unintended. For example, the manufacturing of cars. I'm not sure that any manufacturer went out there to manufacture cars that will pollute the environment. But in the course of using that technology, the environment gets polluted. And that also offers a window of opportunity for business to actually be more innovative. So sustainability, when we talk about sustainability, the first leg of this sustainability is, because I divided them into three legs, as I mentioned earlier, the environment, the social, and the economic. Over time, the name has evolved over time, but the concept has not changed. The fundamentals of sustainability has not changed, but every time we get, now and again, we get new acronyms to make it more entertaining, to make people, to draw people's attention. So it is not unreasonable for me to say that why environmental sustainability is more popular is because it is a global concern, and there's a consensus that we cannot do business on a dead planet. So that is why in the tripod of sustainability, the environment resonates more than the other parts. But this paper wants to look at the other parts of sustainability to see how a balance can be struck in order to make it more beneficial to all stakeholders. The second leg is the economic. I titled it Economic Imperatives of Sustainability. It is not debatable that the most important function of business is to make profit, is to make return on the investment, is to make return to investors who have put their money, and to actually try and capture as much as they can from the market. It's commonly called market share. We are talking about business as a major stakeholder in this sustainability movement. And a company needs to remain profitable in order to fulfill other obligations. That is why on Carroll's pyramid of business responsibility, you see economic responsibility at the bottom of that pyramid. What that means, what that exemplifies, is that other responsibilities are supported by that economic responsibility. So that it is not going to be ambiguous for me to state that there is a direct relationship between economic prosperity and sustainability, because the world is evolving. The business world is becoming more dynamic and more competitive, and a lot of businesses are trying to create points of difference to differentiate themselves from the whole. And some of them have been movers in the sustainability space in order to distinguish themselves from others. And that aligns with this common cliche that you can actually do well by doing good. A lot of businesses have realized that there are opportunities in the sustainability space for them to become more innovative, for them to become more profitable. For example, it was actually the discourse on sustainability that led to the evolution of electric vehicles and alternative source of energy, green source of energy, like solar energy and wind energy and others. And a lot is going on in this energy, in these green industries. And they are employing people, and they are contributing meaningfully, both socially, economically, and environmentally to the planet. So it is sustainability that actually opened this window of innovation, because the world saw that we cannot continue consuming finite resources the way that we've been doing before. So there was a need for behavior change in the way that we consume goods and services, especially those goods and services that are finite. So companies have realized that they are no longer judged solely on their economic competence, that it is now a holistic judgment. A lot of people are not asking how much that you've made. A lot of people are more interested in how you have made that money. So it is fair and very reasonable to say that there's a direct relation, that there's going to be, if not now, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that profitability of an organization will be tied directly to the part they play in sustainability. The third leg is people. That's the social angle of sustainability. This part of sustainability has not been given the necessary attention that is supposed to be given to it. Let us not forget the fact that people run political institutions, and it is these institutions that make laws and regulations that can shape the conversation on sustainability. And that introduces ethical dimension to this conversation, because the more ethical leaders are, the more they're going to pay attention on things that affect human existence. It is also, we cannot remove the fact that some stakeholders have different ideology on sustainability. They've got different opinions on sustainability based on what they have heard and based on what they have experienced. And that comes to the point that we have found out that a society can either be descriptive or normative about environmental sustainability. It is also something that has been found that the more advanced a society is, the more normative it is toward sustainability, and the more they demand for climate justice. But the point is that there's some level of hypocrisy in how this is carried out, because people have not actually, the more developed countries have not actually come up with a framework of an ethical transition to green energy. Because what happens is that as Europe and America are moving away from fossil fuel, nobody has had that conversation about where are these cars that are being driven now, where are they going to be offloaded? But I know where. Let me tell you where. It's going to be offloaded mostly in Africa and mostly in my home country, Nigeria. I know what I'm saying. So it might actually get to a point of digging a hole to open up a new hole, and nobody wants that. And that is why ethics comes into this transition to green energy. Another thing that we have to understand is that no matter how good the policies are, if we do not have the people to implement that, sustainability will not work, because it will actually be people that will promote the sustainability agenda. And if we don't get people to key into this ideology, to keep into this movement, then everything that we'll be talking about sustainability will simply be literature. And in organizations, managers have a compelling role to play in this. Managers are the people who are going to create sustainability agenda internally and externally. And how they create this, how they key into these concepts will determine how other employees and other stakeholders what other stakeholders are going to do. So to summarize this part is that we need people for sustainability. And if we don't have people, then we wouldn't have planet. And if people are not empowered, then they will not be able to carry out the sustainability measures that are going to be put in place. The role of politics in sustainability. Politics is everything. Before the preceding part, I talked about leaders and how do we elect leaders. In most parts of the world, you elect leaders through an electoral system. And the election is based on ideologies. For example, in America, America is a bifurcated society where you have left and right. And experience and information that is available show that the left tends to be pro-environment. The left, I mean the liberals, and the right tends to be pro-business. So if a leftist comes into governance, the conversation on sustainability arguably may be taken more seriously than if a rightist comes in. We saw that in the last 6 years between the two administrations of Barack Obama and Donald Trump. And make no mistake that the government has some regulatory functions over business. And there are also some non-regulatory functions that the government has over business. So if a government that is not willing to bring out regulations that will protect the environment, that will slow down the conversation on sustainability, just like we had in the last 4 years. After the Paris Accord, things did not move as was expected because of change in leadership in America. And we have also found out that strong leadership can help build consensus on sustainability. Strong leadership can provide direction on sustainability by bringing out regulations and by working with business and by using every means to get people, to get all stakeholders to understand the urgency of protecting people and the planet. Again, the 2015 Paris Accord underscores the implications of leadership for sustainability. The challenges for sustainability in less developed countries. Originally, I am from a less developed country, Nigeria. And there are challenges that most of these countries that are not worthy face. And these challenges undermine actions on sustainability, particularly environmental sustainability. That is why when you talk about climate change and global warming, it is not resonating in most of these countries that are still poor, because these countries are faced with poverty, corruption, leadership, and disease. So if these countries, because these countries are preoccupied with the basic needs of existence, there is not much for cleaner energy, for more efficient equipment, for electric vehicles and all that, because they are focusing on poverty, corruption, leadership, and disease. And when you look at all these things, they're very challenging for most of these countries. And that is why a lot of these countries from less developed countries have not made progress, have not made significant progress in sustainability, whether it be environmental, whether it be economical, whether it be social. They have not shifted so much from where they were 20 years ago. And the conversation about environmental sustainability does not resonate in these countries, because they are still fighting fighting for the basic needs for somebody to have a fulfilling life. And that aligns with the position of Maslow, the hierarchy of needs. The more you go up, the more fulfilling you are, the more you articulate, the more you look for improvement, the more you look for ways of making things better. But when you are at the bottom, it becomes very challenging. You can't tell people to stop using firewood when there's no alternative. That is their only source of energy. And that is a global conversation that can be had globally, to know how to start preparing these people for the world that we need to live, for a more sustainable world. The current state of sustainability, it is, despite all these facts that I have laid out here, that I've been talking about, progress has been made. We are making progress, and the progress is incremental, and we're becoming agile and adaptive with the way that we're approaching issues of sustainability, especially environmental sustainability. Because right now, in most of these countries, particularly the advanced countries, you have a lot of clamor for climate justice. You see young people coming up demanding climate justice from world bodies and from politicians. And there's more consensus being built around climate change. The climate change deniers are not as prominent as they used to be. And everybody understands now that something has to change, that our old ways are not working again in terms of the way we consume finite resources. And some countries, a lot of countries like my home, New Zealand, they have been coming up with a number of regulation to tackle environmental sustainability, to tackle global warming, to tackle climate change, to tackle waste issues and all that. And that is why the secular economy is resonating around the world, particularly the advanced countries, because when I say the advanced countries, I know what I'm saying. But this kind of thing, this kind of movements are not getting the right traction in less developed countries. And businesses are now investing more in green technologies globally. The United Nations is at the forefront of it with the COP events that is happening around the world. COP27 is going to happen in Egypt. That's progress. People are coming together. We are coming together to say that, no, we can't continue like this. The planet has to be protected. And if we don't protect this planet, it's going to affect all of us. we do not have a choice other than to work on ways to protect the planet. And we saw that in the more aggressive push that we had in the Paris Accord. It was brilliant. It was very aggressive. And as we are going on, there's more environmental awareness as we had before, because a lot of people have realized that something is happening. And if nothing is done soon, something will get really, really bad for all of us. So, and I look at it as a world united by climate. The climate change is uniting us a lot. A lot of countries are being united by this idea that the world is heating up and something has to be done in order not to exceed that temperature that target. But I don't want us to really, really focus on the target. I want us to evolve to that point that everybody realizes that this is the right thing to do and that all of us must be part of that. And I'm going to conclude by stating the following facts. There has to be a balance between the three parts of sustainability, as I mentioned earlier. When I mean the tripod, the sustainability tripod: economic, social, and environmental. Without a behavioral change in consumption of finite resources, the environment will still remain at risk. If we do not change our ways regarding the way that we take these resources that cannot be replenished, that these resources that took millions and millions of years, thousands and thousands of years to build up, then we are in trouble. Again, the positive side is that I can also conclude that a good number of stakeholders have become more active in fighting environmental sustainability and social justice there. Diversity and inclusion is becoming part of sustainability reporting by organizations. So it is good progress that is being made by different stakeholder groups. Finally, there's a need to conduct an audit of where we are in terms of sustainability and where we want to be. And it is time that we started walking the talk, because we have talked a lot about the need to protect people and planet. But the challenge now is to take this message across the Atlantic to make sure that countries that are not as sophisticated as countries in which some of us live in are embracing this. They want to embark on this journey, that they are making the effort, and whatever support that has to be given to them from people who are already practicing sustainability. By that, I mean developed countries. That we need to start that conversation with the less developed countries. Otherwise, we're going to create a gap that will be very, very difficult for us to close, because we want everybody, we want fairness, we want equity, we want people to enjoy better, we want improved livelihoods. And because we want improved livelihood, it's incumbent on all of us globally to protect what we have, to preserve what we have, and be conscious about how we take what we cannot put back. On this note, I would end my presentation. And in the spirit of New Zealand, I would say tena koto, tena koto, tena koto katua.